Hi everybody, this is the second video in a series called Cheaper versus Steeper. So the first video I talked about different eye products, whether or not I thought that you should spend the money and go with a more expensive option or go cheaper and spend just as little money as possible on the product because the alternatives that are more expensive are of the same quality. So I'm going to be doing the exact same thing with different face products, whether it's concealer, foundation, powder, or any other products. So if you guys have any other questions or suggestions, definitely let me know in the comments below or via FormSpring, which I have a link below as well, or you can leave me a tweet on Twitter as well. So just starting off with concealers, and I have everything laid out around me on my couch, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of turning back and forth to pick up the merchandise or the items. So the first items that I wanted to talk to you guys about were concealers. So I've tried a bunch of different drugstore concealers, and sometimes I feel like the consistency can be a little bit, I don't know, chalky, where it settles into your fine lines and it makes you look very unnatural and old looking. So the two concealers that I like are both on the steeper side of things, but the Erase Paste by Benefit is definitely like the highest of the steeper category. This is a lot of money for this little tiny pot, but it lasts you a long time. The Erase Paste is used mostly for underneath your eyes, and then I also really like the MAC Studio Finish concealers, and I've talked about these in my MAC Starter Kit video as well. And I think that both of these are very good options for a steeper category. I couldn't really absolutely recommend a drugstore concealer, so if any of my subscribers have any options that would be on the cheaper end of things, definitely leave them below so that other people can hear them and see what else there is out there that if they do have to go with the cheaper option. As for, and I'm trying to go in order of how I put everything on my face, but as for foundations, there are kind of mixed reviews. I really absolutely like my steeper, but I also like some of the different options for cheaper. So if you do want to go cheaper with foundation, I would say go with the Neutrogena Healthy Skin. This doesn't work for everyone's skin type. It can break out some people, but it's always good to test it out. If it doesn't work for you, most drugstores have a return policy for cosmetics. If you use it once and it just doesn't work for you, then they usually let you return it. I say go for steeper if you have the means to do it. The reason why is because there's more color ranges with some of the more expensive brands. MAC particularly has neutral shades, has cool shades, and has warm shades. So you want to get a foundation that matches you perfectly because you don't want it to be visible. You don't want any lines of demarcation either on your face or on your neck or anywhere else. So you want one that matches. And drugstores just don't have the lines, and they don't offer as many cool shades or warm shades. They usually offer some neutral based shades, but there's not one to suit everyone. So I say if you have the means, try out a steeper one. So you could go to your local Sephora, or you can even go to a department store, and they usually have a bunch of different brands. So you can try out a bunch of different brands and see possibly if there's one that works for you. Moving on to powders, and I have them over here. There's so many different options for setting powders for your foundations. The ones that I have recommendations either in the steeper or the cheaper category. And for the cheaper category, I really like the Physicians Formula Mineral Wear Talc-Free Mineral Face Powder. So I have this in the pressed powder, but I also really like the loose one. The only thing again is there's not a good color range. That's the same thing with most face products from drugstores. They just don't have the color range. So in the steeper category, I absolutely love, and I've talked about this before, my Mineralized Skin Finish Natural by MAC. It works wonders. It makes your skin look absolutely flawless. And I also really like the Bare Minerals Matte. So both options are around $28 to $30, so that's really expensive, but it's something that it's the first thing people see is your face. So you want to make sure that it looks nice and you don't have a color that doesn't match your skin. So again, I'd probably say go steeper rather than cheaper. Moving on to bronzers. I only use one bronzer, and the reason why I only use the Bare Minerals Warmth is because most bronzers tend to make people look orange. And I know every once in a while the warmth can make me look a little bit orange, just kind of depending on the light or whatever, but I totally recommend it. just because it looks great with so many different skin tones, and it's really easy to apply. And again, it stays on all day and it just looks really nice. So I recommend the Bare Minerals Warmth. It comes in a jar that lasts you, I think I've had this for like a year and a half and it hasn't run out or whatever. But it comes in a jar. You would just use a brush to apply it, and I'll talk about brushes next, what brushes I think you should either go steeper or cheaper on. But as for bronzer, the only one I can recommend, and there might be one or two good cheaper options for bronzer out there from drugstores or from other brands, but I have to go with this one. I'm loyal to the end with this one. Okay, so on to brushes. I really like a mixture of brushes, obviously, from both expensive brands and from cheap brands. So as a foundation brush, if someone uses a foundation brush, I would say just go with a cheap brand. This one's Studio Tools, which I think I got it at Target, but they also sell it at some other drugstores. And it's just a flat foundation brush. You want to make sure that the ends are the bristles or whatever they're called are pretty flexible, because you don't want anything rough going across your face. But they're all pretty much the same. I don't really see any difference in a lot of them. So I would say go cheaper. As for a stippling brush or any other face powder brushes, you really have to test them out. I haven't really found a great stippling brush from any other brand. These two are, this one's Bare Essentials, and I absolutely love it. The hairs are starting to fall out. I've had it for about 3 years now, so it's kind of expected that it's taken this long for the hairs to come up. And then this one's by MAC. It's in the Hello Kitty brand, but I love this. I spray Fix Plus after I have applied my foundation, and I stipple it in, and it really just gives me a dewy, glowy look. As for a bronzer, the brush that I apply my bronzer with, I usually use one of these two, and one's from Eco Tools and one is a fake MAC brush that I accidentally purchased on eBay. Both of them are really nice, so I think you can go cheap with just kind of one of these generic puffy brushes, just because they are all pretty similar, just the way that they apply. Eco Tools brushes are awesome just because they are well made. The hairs really take a long time to fall out, if ever, and they are just so affordable. So I say go with Eco Tools. You can buy sets of Eco Tools brushes, and they are so affordable and awesome, and they really do the job. If you can afford to buy 1 or 2 MAC brushes or 1 or 2 Sigma brushes, I would recommend just trying them out, because there is a difference, but it's not even that really noticeable. So I would say if you have to go cheaper, definitely go cheaper, because I have gone cheaper. Alright, moving on to blushes. There's so many different options for blush, and I say go cheaper. One of the things that you can do for blush, and something that I do all the time, is I layer blushes. So I do have some more expensive blushes. So if you get a cream blush that might be cheaper, or a cream blush and a powder blush that are cheaper, you can layer them. So this one's MAC, it's more expensive, but you don't need to get the more expensive one. If you take a cream blush and you dab it on your cheeks, or however you apply your blush, and then you set it with a powder blush, it will last you as long as a more expensive product. So I really like my Coastal Scents palette, and this is the 6-color contour and blush palette, and these 2 blush colors are just beautiful, and it's definitely affordable. The Coastal Scents palettes are super cheap, but if you want to go with a steeper, a little bit more expensive one, I really like the Cargo blush, and this one's in Sunset Beach. It's really pretty as a highlight and also as a blush. I'm finally hitting pan on this one. I've used it for so long. And Cargo is a little bit cheaper than MAC, in my opinion. Usually it's on sale at Ulta or another Sephora, places like that. And then I also really like the MAC Lady Blush, and this one's a cream blush. So if you get a cream blush from another brand, Neutrogena or whatever, I don't know who else sells cream blushes, put it on first, set it with a powder blush, and I'm telling you, it will last you a really long time. So I think that's it. Oh, also primers, totally late on this one, but I say go steeper. Don't go as steep as the Smashbox one, but definitely go for your MAC Prep and Prime. I love that one. So I'm running out of time. I'm sorry. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, definitely leave me a comment below. I really appreciate all of my subscribers. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.